My name is Roger Gallegos. I'm the founder and CEO of Beacon Marketing. Today, I'm going to continue my series of looking at marketing through the lens of mathematics by discussing a marketing funnel, specifically how you can get people into your funnel so you can start turning potential leads into paying customers. In my blog this week, which I'll include in the description below, or a link to the blog for this video in the description below, discusses how you actually work people down that funnel and the different conversion rates and different types of things that you can look at, and the purpose of the funnel itself. So it's a really good read. I highly recommend taking a look at it. But today we just want to talk about how can you get people into your funnel, because a funnel is not much good use if you do not actually get people into it. So I want to talk about let's say 5 things that you could do to get people into your funnel. And a lot of this stuff is going to be really about looking at a strategy-based approach, which if you know me and you know any of my content, I really start there, because you have to have a plan of action. If you just kind of go out there and throw things at the wall and see what sticks, you're just going to get frustrated after a while, and you're going to waste a lot of time and potentially money. So let's jump right in to see how you can start getting people into your funnel. The first step is define your audience. Define who you want to speak to. Who's your best customers? Who are the people that you really want seeing your content? Because it does not matter if you have the best product in the world, or it does not matter what you put out there. If you do not define who it's for, you're going to kind of speak to no one. And that's why when I talk to people and I say, who's your target audience? And everyone says, well, because my product is good for everyone. And I'm like, it might be good that it might be true that everyone could use your product, or that everyone should be using your product, but your product is generally for a specific audience, or is best used for a specific audience. And who is that audience for? You want to cater your messaging to those people, because they are the ones that are going to be most likely to act upon your messaging. You do not want to have to go after people that are you have to overly commit to, or overly convince to try to use your product or your service. So the first step into getting people into your funnel is identify who you actually want in your funnel. Identify your best customers, and then you'll be able to address them, which leads me into the next part of getting people into your funnel. Create messaging that speaks to your target audience's pain points, such as, for me, I create content that addresses the pain points of small and medium-sized businesses who are struggling marketing their business, who need to find ideas, who want to understand the concepts of sound marketing tactics and strategies. So that is how I serve and address the needs of my target audience. You have to do the same for yourself. So after you define your audience, take some time to write down their pain points, and then take some more time after that to say, how does my product or my service address those pain points, and create messaging directed at that purpose. If you're able to do that, then people will start seeing that relation of, oh, so this is how he does it. This is how that business does it. I'm suffering for this, and they have X, Y, and Z solutions. So maybe I should contact them, or maybe I should still just get into their funnel and start following them. They're not going to say those specific words, but that's going to be the net effect. They're going to start following you because you are speaking to their needs. They may not call you today, but if you continue speaking to their needs and addressing their pain points, they will eventually contact you, because you're going to sit there and say something that sparks them. But to get to that step, you first have to get them into your funnel. So the first 2 steps: define your audience and develop messaging that addresses their pain points. The next thing is, and this is part of knowing your target audience, is select the correct marketing channels. If you know your audience is going to be on YouTube, or if you know they're going to be on Facebook or Instagram, or that they prefer email, then that's where you need to put your messaging on. Otherwise, they're not going to see it. They're not going to interact with it. Particularly when it comes to social media, when people, depending on certain age groups or demographics, they are going to be on a certain platform, and they generally don't waver. So if you're going for a younger target audience, chances are they're going to be on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, maybe Snapchat. If you're going for an old audience, they're probably going to be on Facebook. If you're looking for a professional audience, a B2B type thing, they're probably going to be on LinkedIn. That's how, so you could use those sort of things to sit there and say, okay, we know who we're talking to. We have some ideas of how to address their messaging. Now let's select the correct marketing channels that they're going to be in and craft content that speaks to those needs and the content that's most appropriate for those marketing channels. That's how you start getting people into your funnel. So 3 steps so far is define your target audience, develop messaging that addresses their pain points, and select the correct marketing channels. Now, these first 3 things are sort of theory-based things, or sort of things to kind of get you in the right process. This next thing is more of just a mindset, and it is to be persistent and to be consistent. And what I mean by that is, too often I see people and I see businesses, they get frustrated after doing this for a month, for 6 weeks, for whatever, and they give up. Chances are it's going to take longer than that, because you have to build up that trust. You have to try different things. Maybe you have to post messaging on Mondays versus Tuesday afternoons, or maybe you try sending emails on Monday afternoons as opposed to Thursday mornings. Whatever the case may be, there's always going to be some trial and error, both on exactly how you define your audience, and maybe you're addressing the wrong pain points, or maybe you're addressing them in the wrong fashion. Just because you put something out there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work. You have to do some analysis, some revision, and go back and readjust. But if you get frustrated, trust me, I know the process of getting frustrated, but if you get frustrated and you give up that, then you are not going to see the success. And you have to be consistent with this. If you are going to put messaging out every Monday, do it every Monday so your audience has a chance to get used to it, so they can become used to it. Because there might be people who might be seeing your messaging and they may not necessarily be a follower, so they're not necessarily in your funnel yet. But if you keep doing it and they keep looking forward, they'll be like, you know what? I need to follow Roger from Beacon Marketing because he's putting out some good stuff. It's about time I follow him. And I've done that same thing to myself, where I keep seeing someone messaging and I'm like, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm just going to follow it and start listening to what they have to say. I'm going to make time to listen because it's so important to read what they're putting out there. So be consistent and be persistent, and you will see results over time, but you have to have that mentality. So far we have define your target audience, develop messaging that address the needs of your target audience, select the correct marketing channels where they get the information so you can speak directly to them, and be persistent and be consistent. The last thing, and this is more of a tactical thing, it's something to consider, particularly if you have if your name recognition in town is low and you don't have many followers and whatnot, and that's buy some ads. You may just have to do that. I've done it myself to try to get an increase in email followers, or try to get increase in followers to my different social media platforms. It could be just a tactic that you do. You don't have to spend all your ad revenue, all your ad budget on that concept. You could sit there and say, I want to portion some to sales, but you know what? I want to think long term. I want to think 3, 4, 6 months down the road, and I want to have a nice following. So why don't I devote maybe 20% of what I was going to devote to ads to just building an email list, or building my followers on Facebook or Twitter or wherever it may be that I feel my audience is going to be at. And you might see some dividends in the long run, particularly, like I say, if you're persistent and consistent with it, and you try different things, you tweak your messaging a little bit, there's a chance you're going to be able to grow your platform. So that's it. Real quick recap: define your target audience, develop messaging that addresses their pain points, select the marketing channels where your audience gets their messaging so you can speak directly to them, be consistent and persistent, and then take some time to maybe consider some buying some ads or devoting a portion of your ad budget to growing your list, or growing your social media following, and you can see some dividends in the long run. So that's it for how to get new leads in your funnel. Keep going out there, just trying it. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the looking at marketing through the lens of mathematics. In my blog, I promise there's actually some more mathematics to this. This is not really a math heavy topic in terms of the video, but there is some definite math in the blog that goes along with this. So it's a really good breakdown of how you can use your funnel and how you can use the different stages and looking at the conversion rates and to move people, to get people into your funnel, move them on down. So I highly recommend checking that out. If you have any questions about anything, about how I can help you, about marketing, I do offer a free 60-minute consultation. So please feel free to take advantage of that. I'll include a link in the description below. And last, if you're interested in joining my get on my email newsletter. I send out a weekly marketing newsletter every Monday afternoon full of great information. I don't blow up your email with useless spam. I try to be very aware of who that you have a lot of things going on. So I try to put some really good, useful information, what I feel is good, useful information for you. So that is my promise to you. So that's it for me today. Roger Gallegos, Beacon Marketing. I'll be back next week discussing how you can determine your marketing mix. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much. You have a great one. Bye.